So we are continuing the discussion of important chapter molecular basis of inheritance, and in this video a very interesting topic I would like to discuss, what is called as 6.3 unit, which is RNA word. So your NCERT gives a section on this, it is called as RNA word. So I will advise you to read your NCERT, the properties of genetic material DNA versus RNA 6.2.2. I have already recorded important videos on it, and please go through these videos and read your NCERT, then you will be able to comprehend better what exactly is meant by RNA word. So this is a very interesting topic, and we will start with a very intriguing question. So once you look at the origin of life on earth, so most of the scientists actually believe that it was a biochemical evolution of life. So largely we concur with Oparin and Haldane hypothesis. So that means inorganic chemicals first evolved into organic monomers, and the organic monomers then evolved into protocells. So what we are saying, that there were two evolutions. One was that inorganic chemicals evolved into organic monomers, and in the second step these organic compounds, they evolved into what is called as a protocell. So this is what we generally believe. This is called as Oparin and Haldane hypothesis. This is discussed in details in the chapter of evolution. A very interesting read, and I strongly encourage everybody to read evolution very clearly. You should be absolutely clear about the basic ideas of evolution. A very important scientist, Dobzhansky, once said that nothing in biology makes sense except in light of evolution, and very rightly so. Unless and until you understand the great unifying thing of biology, which is actually evolution of life on this earth, you will not be able to comprehend the basic processes. You will have to muck them up. So the basic, or cram them. So the idea is to understand evolution first. So every student of biology must have a very strong foundation, some very strong clarity of the basic concepts of the process of evolution. Then the biology becomes very interesting, and then it is not a science that is to be crammed up. This is a foregone conclusion. You must understand that the knowledge of evolution is the basic knowledge that on the basis of which we can build all other topics in biology. So what we are saying, that the protocell was formed first. So this was the first cell that was formed on the earth. So we say this is the concept of primary abiogenesis, which means the first life evolved from non-living chemicals, but once it was established, then there was biogenesis only. So we say abiogenesis first and biogenesis since then. That means that further on all life arises from pre-existing life. So this is what we are trying to say. I hope this is absolutely clear. So when we are talking of RNA word, once this protocell was established, there was a very interesting concept in front of the scientists, that they wanted to see that what actually happened, because that every cell has a flow of genetic information. So in most of the cells, as we have seen, DNA is the genetic material. It carries the genetic information, and then it is being transcribed into an RNA molecule, and this RNA molecule is translated into a protein, what is called as the central dogma of molecular biology. So this central dogma of molecular biology was elucidated by Francis Crick, and shows the flow of the genetic information in almost all living organisms on earth. So that means there is a repository or deposition of the genetic information, or storage of the genetic information in this molecule, and it flows like this. And the transmission of the genetic information is the domain of RNA, storage is DNA, and ultimately the expression, which is the protein, is responsible for carrying out the functions of the cell, because almost all enzymes are proteins, and number two, they also are very structural component of the various things that are present in the living organism. So that is why we call protein as pro. Pro means something which is of first importance. So I hope this is making sense. Now what the problem was? The problem was that we did not understand that which evolved first, DNA or protein. So let me tell you something in detail. So if you want to make DNA, you will have to join deoxyribonucleotides, and this process is catalyzed by an enzyme, and that enzyme is DNA polymerase, and that DNA polymerase is a protein. So that means if you want to make a DNA molecule, you require protein, and if you want to transcribe it, you require RNA polymerase, which is again a protein. And the problem is that if you want to make a protein, there has to be a genetic code, because you need proteins that are encoded by your genetic code. They are very specific proteins that are required by you. It is not that if you eat, say for example, any protein from your market, and the same protein will be used in your body. That protein is digested into the amino acid. The amino acids are absorbed in the intestine, and they are transported to the cell, where the cell make their own proteins according to the genetic information that is stored in your DNA. So be very specific about it. It is not every protein will be functional in every organism. They have different specific proteins. So my proteins may not be identical to the other organism. So I have to make my own proteins, and that protein will require DNA, because the repository of the genetic information is in DNA, as I understand it. So now this was what is called as the egg and chicken paradox. So egg and chicken paradox, this is something you are all aware of, about the egg and chicken paradox, that what came first, egg or chicken. So that is what we are saying. What was evolved first, whether it was DNA or protein, because we are understanding that to make DNA you require proteins, and to make proteins you require DNA. So this was the basic question that confronted the scientists and dumbfounded them, and they were all at sea. They could not understand what is happening here, how this practically every cell follows this flow of genetic information, or the central dogma of molecular biology. How was it established? Or in other words, which was the first molecule? So which was the first molecule of the life that originated on this earth? So this is a very, very important and interesting question. Several hypotheses have been put forth, but the hypothesis that has wide acceptability, wide credibility, is that it is an RNA world. This is what your NCERT is saying, that it is an RNA world. So we are saying that small self-replicating RNA molecules evolved first. So please understand, again I am saying, what I am saying is that small, I am talking of small and self-replicating. We have already seen that RNA is also capable of replicating. So we know that many viruses have RNA as the genetic material, and RNA can function as the genetic material. You know this. But because DNA is more stable than RNA, and therefore we prefer to store genetic information in DNA, and because RNA is more dynamic, the transmission is the purview of RNA molecule. This is absolutely clear. So what we are saying, that first and foremost there were small RNA molecules that were self-replicating. Why we are saying small? Because if the RNA molecules are large, then they become fragile. So we are absolutely sure about it. They cannot be large molecules. The large molecules of RNA would be fragile. So therefore we think that there would be, the first thing that in this RNA world, the hypothesis says that it was small RNA molecules that were self-replicating, that evolved before DNA and protein. And then after this evolution of RNA, later on the evolution led to the formation of DNA and protein. And because DNA is a molecule that is more stable than RNA, the function of storage of genetic information was passed on to DNA, and because proteins are better catalysts than RNA molecules, this function goes to protein. Now to understand this more completely, RNA has a very, very important property. In 1970s, scientists discovered something very important. That was the process of what is called as reverse transcription. So we already know that the formation of RNA on the template of DNA is called as transcription. But we came to know later on that we can form DNA on the template of RNA as well. So please understand this very important molecule. You can make DNA on the template of RNA. The process is appropriately called as reverse transcription. The process is also called as reverse transcription. You will see later on the occurrence of retroviruses which have single-stranded RNA as the genetic material, and when they have to infect the eukaryotic cell during their life cycle, they synthesize the complementary DNA by the process of reverse transcription, and they carry the enzyme which is reverse transcriptase. And a very, very important example would be the human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. So I hope this thing is absolutely clear. So we came to know about this property of RNA, that okay, we can make complementary DNA. So when we write complementary DNA, we will write it as cDNA. Can you see that I have written C in subscript? So that means it is a small letter. This is complementary DNA. So something else is called as cDNA. Do not write the capital letter here. It is the small letter. And this is the complementary DNA that is formed on the template of RNA. So this can be done. Later on, in 1990s, there was a scientist, Thomas Sech. He discovered a very, very important property of ribosome, of RNA molecules. I'm sorry. He discovered a very important property of RNA molecules, that they can have a catalytic function as well. So they can act as catalysts, they can act as an enzyme, and such enzymes are called as ribozymes. So this is the discovery that changed our thinking about this. So now we know that RNA can replicate itself, therefore can be a genetic material. We can make DNA on the template of RNA. The process is reverse transcription, and we know that this RNA can catalyze some very important chemical reactions that are occurring in the living organism. So that is why we say that this was the first molecule. And then what evolved from RNA, DNA, and then the central dogma of molecular biology got established. This was the first molecule of life. So very important property again. Please understand once more, they are able to replicate. You can make DNA on the template of RNA by the process of reverse transcription, and they have catalytic functions as well. So this is a very, very important thing. Now let me tell you something else. So if you look the basic processes that are occurring, that are taking place in the living cells even today, and some of the most important processes are even today catalyzed by ribozyme or the RNA molecules. So what we are saying, say for example, when we say protein, we talk of a biomolecule that is of first importance, and for protein you join amino acids. And you know that this joining of amino acid is through what is called as a peptide bond. And even today, the peptide bond formation is actually catalyzed by a ribozyme. So the very basic process of the life are still catalyzed by RNA molecule. Very important property of RNA. So we have seen peptide bond formation being catalyzed by the RNA molecules. Number 2. That means that there is one more thing which is called as amino acylation of tRNA. So that means that the transfer RNA molecule carries an amino acid at its 3' end, and a particular enzyme transfers the amino acid to the 3' end of the transfer RNA molecule. This thing is still catalyzed by our RNA molecule. So we are seeing some very, very basic process. We will see that the eukaryotic genes have some non-coding sequence interspersed with the coding sequence. So this is a gene of a eukaryotic cell, and we are saying that this is a coding sequence, this is also a coding sequence, this is also a coding sequence, but in between you are finding some non-coding sequence. So to make sense, what happens that these are spliced out from the messenger RNA molecule. So they are spliced out from the messenger RNA molecule, not from the DNA. And your NCERT, if you read it very clearly, very closely, there is a very important line of your NCERT where it says that the splicing, this process is called as splicing. That means removal of introns and joining of the coding sequence. Introns are the non-coding sequence and the coding sequence are called as exons. Removal of introns and joining together of the exons forms what is called as a cistron or a functional gene. But that is possible in the messenger RNA molecule, not in the DNA molecule. We will see it later. We will discuss it later in the process of transcription as well. And this process, your NCERT rightly concludes that the process of splicing shows the dominance of RNA word. And one more thing. So we are giving lot of evidences. We are giving lot of evidences for RNA word. So we are again saying one more evidence, one more very important evidence would be that the machinery of the protein synthesis or the site of the protein synthesis is ribosome. Whether it is prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell, ribosomes are found in all cells and they are the site of protein synthesis. We know protein is something of first importance, and this ribosome is also made up of an RNA which is called as ribosomal RNA. If we look at the coenzymes like acetyl-CoA, like NADH, so these are some of the examples of the coenzymes where you will see that the ribonucleotides are a part of them. So again, a very, very important thing. So you are seeing that ribonucleotides are a part of acetyl-CoA, NADH, which are coenzyme. Actually, your ATP molecule, adenosine triphosphate, is actually a ribonucleoside triphosphate. So we are seeing that this particular RNA nucleotide are structural components of some very, very important molecules and structures in the living world, and hence they are giving more credibility to the hypothesis that actually it is an RNA word. So now one more thing was that right at the beginning of the video I told you that the initial RNA molecules must have been small. They were self-replicating, must be small, and that means because I told you that the larger molecules will be fragile. So largest molecules will be fragile. That was a big thing. So but we are seeing that first molecule was RNA and then DNA evolved from it. So what we are looking for is that suppose I look at a nitrogenous base in DNA which is thymine. This is actually 5-methyl-uracil. So that means methylation will give more stability. So you are looking for a molecule with more stability, so you can actually methylate the things in the RNA and can form the DNA. This may be the process of methylation which gives more stability that may have led to the evolution of DNA after the RNA molecule. So again we are looking at the first molecule would be an RNA. So now what we believe? We believe that the first molecule was RNA, and what evolved from RNA by this process, say for example, we know that methylation gives more stability. So what evolved? DNA, but in between there were ribonucleoproteins. So we say RNA, then ribonucleoprotein, and then we say what evolved? DNA. And obviously once DNA was established, then we know that DNA is more stable than RNA, therefore more suited for storage of genetic information, and then based on the genetic information you started making proteins. All initial processes were catalyzed by the RNA molecule, and because proteins were better catalysts, this function was actually taken over by RNA, and DNA took over the function of the genetic information, and the central dogma of molecular biology got established. So this is a very, very important thing. One more evidence if you want I can give you. You have heard about or read about in your class 11 textbook something about viroids. So you know about viroids. So viroids are free RNA molecules and they are low molecular weight. So again it is giving credence to something that we are saying, that initially the RNA molecules must be slow. So you have read from your class 11th about viroid, and again I am saying once you understand evolution you can understand so many things in biology. Otherwise you would have just crammed up the information about the viroids that was given in your NCERT. Now you are understanding the viroids that may play a role during the evolution of life. We know that these are self-replicating RNA molecules of low molecular weight, and they are infectious particle. They are capable of causing infection. You know, potato spindle tuber disease. So this is what they are capable of. So we are looking at a viroid. So this viroid was, one, low molecular weight. So that means they were small molecules. Number two, they were circular. Circular means that there will be no replication tags. That means they will be able to get replicated in their entirety. And number three, they do not code for any proteins. So the RNA molecule present in the viroid do not code for any proteins. This must be very important in a world that was in the beginning, that may have been devoid of what are called as ribosomes. We know that the proteins are synthesized on ribosomes. So initially there may not have been any ribosomes, and now you can understand the importance of viroids, that they do not code for any proteins at all, and may have been very important in that world where ribosomes were not present. So we have seen a very important concept given in your NCERT, that probably it was the RNA world, and the predominance of the RNA in the early times when the life got established. The first molecule must have been RNA, and then it led to a ribonucleoprotein world, and then what evolved, DNA, and then protein. This is how the central dogma of molecular biology was established, and this is how we can now solve the egg and chicken paradox. So we know that the first thing was actually RNA. So very interesting read. I have given you so many evidences. There may be other evidences as well. Please remember, there are other hypotheses as well, but the most acceptable is this. And let me introduce a name of a scientist, Gilbert. And Gilbert actually coined the word RNA word for the first time. Very interesting topic. After seeing the video, look at the NCERT and try to analyze some other things that you can think of in the favor of the RNA world. I hope you have understood this difficult but very interesting concept given in your NCERT very well. Thank you.